Justice at the mall. On a crisp Saturday morning, the kind where the air smells faintly of coffee and fresh pretzels, a woman named Evelyn Harper, president of the Pine Grove Homeowners Association, was let out of the Meadowbrook Mall in handcuffs. Her designer blouse was torn, her face bruised, her pride in tatters. None of this would have happened if she hadn't pushed my 9-year-old daughter, Lily, down an escalator, kicked her ice cream cone, and slapped her hand. Evelyn thought no one would dare challenge her. She thought a father wouldn't raise his voice, let alone his fists. She was wrong. When the law lagged, I made sure justice didn't. The day started innocently enough. Lily and I were at the mall to pick out a gift for her grandfather's birthday, a leather-bound journal, something he'd treasure. Lily, with her braided pigtails and bright blue sneakers, clutched my hand, her eyes sparkling with purpose. At 9, she still saw the world as kind, a place where politeness opened doors and smiles were returned. I cherished that in her, those fleeting years before cynicism crept in. The mall buzzed with life. Families weaving through stores, the hum of conversation, the clink of coins at the arcade. But beneath the warmth, something felt off, a tension I couldn't place, like a storm brewing behind clear skies. We just stepped off the escalator near the food court when Lily accidentally bumped into a woman by the fountain. She was tall, her ash-blonde hair perfectly styled, her white handbag gleaming like a status symbol. She didn't apologize, didn't even glance at Lily. Instead, she sneered, her lip curling as if my daughter were a smudge on her polished life. "Sorry, ma'am," Lily said softly, but the woman just kept walking. My gut twisted not just at her rudeness, but at the coldness in her eyes. I squeezed Lily's hand and steered her toward the bookstore, trying to shake the unease. Minutes later, I saw her again. She stood near the escalator to the upper level, her posture rigid, like she owned the floor. People swerved to avoid her, but she didn't budge, her gaze scanning the crowd with bored disdain. Lily was distracted, pointing at a stuffed rabbit in a kiosk, but I noticed the woman shift, just enough to block our path. "Excuse me," I said, my voice calm but firm. She didn't move. I repeated louder, "Excuse me." She turned, her eyes raking over me like I'd tracked mud into her living room. "Are you seriously trying to cut through with that?" she said, nodding toward Lily. My jaw tightened. "That's my daughter," I snapped. "And you're blocking a public walkway." She gave a dry laugh, her voice dripping with contempt. "Public? This isn't a playground. Maybe if you taught your kid to walk like a human instead of a hyper puppy, we wouldn't have a problem." I stepped closer, my voice low and hard. "Move." Her nostrils flared, but she sidestepped just enough for us to pass. Lily's hand trembled in mine, but she stayed quiet. I didn't trust myself to speak. This woman, Evelyn, I'd later learn had the look of someone who thrived on control, and I knew she wasn't done with us. We reached the escalator, Lily clutching her melting strawberry cone, her small purse swinging at her side. "Can I go first, Daddy?" she asked, her voice bright despite the earlier encounter. I smiled. "Sure, sweetheart. Hold the rail." That's when I heard its sharp clack of heels, fast and deliberate. Before I could turn, Evelyn swept in from the side, her eyes locked on Lily. In one calculated motion, she shoved my daughter, not hard enough to look intentional, but enough to throw her off balance. Lily's foot caught the escalator's edge, and she fell, her face smacking the metal step. Her cone splattered, her purse skidded, and a bright streak of blood appeared on her forehead. I lunged, scooping Lily into my arms as she sobbed, her hands scraped raw. Behind me, Evelyn scoffed. "Maybe don't let your kid stand there like a stray dog," she spat. I whirled, my voice a growl. "You pushed her." She raised her hands, her smile plastic. "Oh, please. If she can't balance, that's not my fault." Then, as Lily reached for her purse, Evelyn kicked the cone's remains across the floor and leaned down, hissing, "Don't touch what's not yours, brat." She slapped Lily's hand away. Something snapped. The world narrowed to a single point, me daughter's trembling form, her blood on the steel, Evelyn's smirk. I stepped between them, my voice deadly calm. "You've got 5 seconds to walk away, or you'll leave here on a stretcher." Evelyn laughed, unfazed. "Threats? From someone like you?" Then she sneered at Lily. "You shouldn't bring animals into public spaces. They don't belong." That was it. I spotted a metal caution, wet floor sign nearby, heavy and solid. I ripped it from its base, the bolts screeching, and swung it into Evelyn's shoulder. She stumbled into the information desk, gasping, her handbag clattering to the floor. The mall froze. Phones came out, red lights blinking as people recorded. Evelyn clutched her arm, shrieking, "You lunatic!" I stepped closer, the sign still in my hand. "You pushed my daughter down an escalator," I snarled. "You kicked her ice cream, slapped her hand, and now you cry because someone hit back." She scrambled backward, her bravado cracking. "I'll sue you. I'll ruin your life." I slammed the sign down on the desk, shattering the plexiglass in a deafening crash. "You don't scare me," I said, my voice like granite. "You should be scared of the father you just woke up." Lily tugged my sleeve, sniffling, and I knelt to check her, my glare never leaving Evelyn. The crowd murmured. A woman whispered, "She deserved it." Another said, "I saw her shove that girl." Evelyn, sprawled amid the wreckage, tried to rally. "He assaulted me," she screamed, pointing at me. "This psycho attacked me." I stepped forward. "You don't have a child?" I said, cutting through her lies. "You're no victim." A woman with a stroller stepped up. "I saw you push that girl," she said. "Don't play innocent." Another voice added, "I got it all on video." Evelyn's face twisted. "No, you didn't. You're all jealous of my standards." But the crowd was done with her. Phones flashed, capturing every second of her unraveling. I turned to the woman with the video. "Can you send me that?" She nodded, already uploading. Evelyn hissed, then limped toward the escalator, one heel broken, her dignity in shreds. But the storm wasn't over. As I wiped blood from Lily's forehead, heavy boots approached not mall security, but a hulking man in a black vest labeled Pine Grove Security. His name tag read Mike. He cracked his knuckles, glaring like we'd invaded his turf. "Step away," he barked. I stood, shielding Lily. "You think this is your gated community? This is a public mall. You've got no authority here." Mike didn't flinch. "You're interfering with HOA jurisdiction." I laughed, cold and sharp. "You're a mall visitor in a costume vest. Touch me, and I'll put you through the floor. Breathe near my kid, and you'll leave with broken ribs and a lawsuit." The crowd tightened, phone still rolling. A mother stood beside me, then a young man, then more. Mike hesitated, realizing he was outmatched. "This isn't over," he muttered, turning away. Evelyn, furious, shouted, "Mike, get back here. You work for me." He kept walking. "I don't get paid enough for this." She froze, abandoned by her hired muscle, exposed by the crowd. I knelt beside Lily. "You okay?" She nodded, tears drying. I looked at Evelyn and said, loud enough for all to hear, "You're not powerful when your only shield is a man you paid to intimidate." Real police arrived minutes later, their boots echoing on the marble. Evelyn lit up, limping toward them. "Thank God. I was attacked." "Arrest him." The taller officer held up a hand. "Ma'am, step back." He turned to me. "Sir, can you explain?" I nodded. The stroller mom handed over her phone. I recorded everything from when she shoved the girl. Evelyn screamed, "That's fake. They're lying." The officer watched, his jaw tightening as Evelyn's voice played. "Don't touch what's not yours, brat." He approached her. "Turn around. You're under arrest for assaulting a minor, causing a disturbance, and filing a false report." Evelyn twisted away, shrieking, "I'm the head of Pine Grove HOA." The officer didn't blink. "I don't care if you're the mayor. Hands behind your back." The cuffs clicked, and the crowd erupted in applause. Evelyn was led out, cursing, her reign over. In a sterile security room, I sat with Lily on a cot, her bandage stark against her pale skin. Her eyes were heavy, no longer the curious ones from that morning. She whispered, "Why did she hate me?" My chest ached. "She didn't hate you," I said. "She hated herself and took it out on someone smaller." Lily paused. "Will she hurt me again?" I clenched my jaw. "No, not after today." She leaned into me, and I held her tight, vowing to shield her always. The video went viral, 15 million views in a day. Evelyn Harper, Pine Grove HOA president, was exposed. Her HOA ousted her, news vans staked out her house, and old complaints surfaced, bullying neighbors, berating store clerks. She tried to spin the story, but the truth was unstoppable. Charges were filed, and her name became a cautionary tale. As for me, I didn't want fame. I wanted every parent to know. Sometimes restraint is a trap. When someone hurts your child, you don't stay silent. That night, Lily slept against my chest, safe. I'd drawn a Lenino, one harms my family and walks away. Justice isn't always a badge. Sometimes it's a father's heartbeat. What would you have done in my place? Share your thoughts below on violence, on injustice, on standing up. Would you have swung that cig or walked away? Let's talk. Your voice matters.